So, so I'm just curious, Gautam, in your RFPs, right? Is there anything like the solutions which the service provider is going to give? Do you add something like how much of agnosticity is built inside the solution that you are giving? Is there any clause that goes in?
When you say agnosticity, on what sense?
Okay, I'm just inventing or innovating on an English word. What I mean is, like, my solution, how much of technology or vendor agnostic is it? So, for example, let's say I'm trying to do something very simple, right? There is a kiosk which has a voice recognition, which is being put in the stores. Okay. Now, that is going to use Amazon's voice recognition. Now, is there a clause that you give that if I want to change the vendor or the product of your solution, is there an evaluation parameter that is there in the RFP? Or see, typically all solutions comes with some basic prerequisite as technology, right? How tightly is it coupled? Is that measured, or is there a clause in the RFP?
See, RFP, you'll have to see it from two ways, right? So one is the existing vendors or with whom you're already working on for some business case. In such a scenario, I will float that, okay, I'm already having a technology of this sort, which is able to handle things like this. And I would like to expect something same or something more better than that, right? That is one way of looking at it. And if there is a fresh RFP that is floated, definitely it is more of a business case that is presented, but I don't have any specific technology specific thing that is mentioned on the RFP. We don't generally mention it.
Yeah, because even from a services perspective, I don't think we quote that. I think one thing that this discussion is kind of giving me clarity is if as an architect, right, we have a role to play in either the RFP forming, the BCP coming, and in all of them, I think we need to have something called like we talk about performance and scalability and security and all that flexibility kind of a thing, right? I think this would probably come under flexibility, and we need to have a conscious measure in our architecture which comes like how dependent is my solution on a technology. So if it is like 100% resistant, I'll give it a value of something like 0 or 1, right?
Yeah.
If I can replace that meeting my business conditions, now tie it up to your business SLAs. If it can meet that change without affecting the business SLAs, I will give it a rating something like 10 out of 10. Okay, and probably something like this we give a scale and then have that as a part of our architecture document itself, which will also show up in your business SLAs, will actually help the solution.
So let me give you an example of where something like this has been implemented with by a vendor, right? So there's a vendor called Wasabi. If you look it up, this is called Wasabi. They do storage, right?
Okay.
They do cloud storage, right? Now they are saying that we are giving you 90% the price of what Amazon gives you. Okay,
90% less or 10%?
90% less. 90% less.
Oh, okay.
But you can use the same API whatever you are using for Amazon S3, right?
Okay.
So Amazon S3 API you can use, so they are 100% compatible with that. So all you need to do is change the URL for going to Amazon, go to Wasabi, and you are 100% compatible. So you want to change storage from Amazon to Wasabi, they are enabling it like that, right? So this is one example of where they are using that because they know there is a lot of installed base of Amazon S3 users. They can capitalize on that, and API is a public thing. As long as I'm compatible with the API, I can give a service which is compatible 100% with it.
And I think
now there are some legal things around it that can API be considered copyrighted?
yeah,
right?
The signature, right? Yes, yeah.
Right. The API you see, once you're publishing API, it becomes technically public domain. It says, this is how I want this is the input, output I take, whatever parameters, all these things. That has nothing to do with what is the software inside. As long as it's like you and me speaking English, we are using the same words, right? We can talk to each other. So this says, you cannot copyright English.
Correct.
We cannot talk to each other otherwise, right? So there is a precedent around that. And another example I give is, if you say Cosmos DB, if you use in any project, they give you multiple kinds of way you can write to it. You can use MongoDB API, you can use SQL, or you can use the Cosmos DB, whatever their native API, right? So your application can be thinking that it is talking to MongoDB, but behind it is Cosmos DB, right?
Okay.
So it's already there. So vendors are already thinking about this, and they know that if they want this interchangeability to be there, they are providing you these options. Right? So I just gave you two examples of where.
So I think, for example, whatever you just said now, right? In that scale of technology agnosticity, it will score high.
Yes.
Because it will be like 10, right? You can switch kind of a thing. I think one of the things which interestingly, I actually didn't, this is something which I like about the discussion, right? I had no clue where we will be ending up with. But I think one thing which I kind of would take away from this conversation is have a technology agnosticity quotient or some word for that, right? Which is basically 0 is something like you're stuck with this, right? It's going to take you 3 months, or I mean, like 1 is 0 will be you will die with this product. If that product goes, you are also dead. Okay, or the solution is dead. Maybe the business is not dead, but the solution is dead. Okay, so that is 0. And then that would actually give you quick time to market. Use it as it is. Okay. So it's something like your classical thing, right? I'm using iPhone. If iPhone is dead, what do I do? Okay. Probably if I have taken a backup, and if both the Apple itself goes down, my iCloud also goes and iPhone also goes down on the same day. Actually, I'm finished. Because I haven't taken a backup of even my contacts down. Okay. So that is probably the 0. 1 or 2 will be what Nishant talked about. I can get the data from that provider and then bring my local thing up. So that would be, let's say, 2 or 3 kind of a thing where I can get the data and rebuild the solution without rebuilding the code. 4, 5 is something where I will have to get the open source, compile it and build it up, right? And right at the end of that spectrum, 10 is something like within the agreed SLA, right? RTO, RPO, I can actually switch vendors within that RTO and RPO, or not even, within the RTO, RPO, I can switch the vendor, get the data, go from here to there. I think in Nishant's case, for example, I guess switching from one payment vendor to another guy completely, in their case, it would just be a configuration or setting, correct, Nishant?
Yeah, Kumar. Actually, I was trying to recollect. Actually, this scenario happened in production also. And when one of the payment gateway has bankruptcy happened for one of the payment gateway, the airline has to immediately switch to the other gateway and change the configuration to 100% for the other one.
Ah, nice.
The situation also happened in our case.
Oh, very interesting. Okay. So that would be, I would say, is a case of 10, right? Where you're completely free from the vendor. So ideally, an architecture should have this rating. Now, is 0, 1 or 10, 1? I have no idea. It depends on the business need, right? Or maybe you don't have a choice. Like Deepak is starting a startup. He cannot say, I will buy one whatever server for myself. I will host it in my own data center. I will get a fixed line pipe and then I will host my solution there. Not possible.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's great. Any other comments, thoughts before we kind of close this session? It was interesting. I didn't quite expect it to go here, but it was nice.
Vendor agnosticity.
Yeah, so we should have vendor agnosticity factor, right? VAF. Our contribution to architecture on Saturday morning. VAF. Have you considered VAF? Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So nice. Okay, and I think I think it's important nowadays, right? Now, regardless of whether a change is happening because of financial reasons, political reasons, ethical model, doesn't matter. The VAF will kind of determine how well I'm placed to run my business, and I'm responsible for